been many other high-profile issues in the news lately, and we've been kind of wondering where all of these heads of these different organizations that were so prevalent in everyone's lives over the past 2 years, where exactly have they gone? Wondering that aloud here over the past couple of weeks, and it's like, oh hey, maybe that's why they're in hiding. Nonprofit Watchdog uncovers $350 million in secret payments to Fauci, Collins, and other at the NIH. That's why they've been so quiet lately. An estimated $350 million in undisclosed royalties were paid to the National Institute of Health and hundreds of its scientists, including the agency's recently departed director, Dr. Francis Collins, and Dr. Anthony Fauci, according to a nonprofit government watchdog. We estimate that up to $350 million in royalties from third parties were paid to NIH scientists during those fiscal years between 2010 and 2020. $350 million over the course of a decade. That's a lot of cash. That's a lot of fucking cash. That's almost as big as Amber Heard's wine bill, and I can't wait for that trial to start back up tomorrow. It's going to be so much fun. Cross-examination of that cunt it's what's sustaining me through this next week. Anyways, back to being on point. We draw the conclusion because in the first 5 years, there's been $134 million that we have been able to qualify for top-line numbers that flowed from third-party payers, meaning pharmaceutical companies or other payers, the NIH scientists. Remember when quote-unquote liberals used to care about the influence of big pharma in government? That's the reason why, but they gave up on the principles a long fucking time ago. The first 5 years from 2010 to 14 constitute 40% of the total, he said. Now that there are 1,675 scientists that received payments during that period, at least one payment. The fiscal year of 2014, for instance, $36 million was paid out on average, $21,100 per scientist, Andrzejewski said. And that's the CEO, Adam Andrzejewski, CEO of Open the Books. Skipped over that line. We also find that during this period, leadership at the NIH was involved in receiving third-party payments. For instance, Francis Collins, the immediate past director of the NIH, received 14 payments. Awesome. Dr. Anthony Fauci received 23 payments. You got to make sure Daddy eats first. And his deputy, Clifford Lane, the big red dog, received 8 payments. Wow, your deputy, and you get a third of the payments? Interesting. Collins resigned as director of the NIH in December of 2021 after 12 years. I guess he properly stocked up his retirement reserves, leading the world's largest public health agency. Fauci has been a long-time head of the NIH's National Institute for Allergies and Infectious Diseases, as well as the chief medical advisor to President Lane as the deputy director of the NIH under Fauci. The top 5 NIH employees, measured on terms of the number of royalty payments that they received while on the government payroll, according to the fact sheet published by Open the Books, include Robert Gallo, National Cancer Institute, 271 payments over the past 10 years. Ira Paston, National Cancer Institute, 250 payments. Mikolas Popovic, National Cancer Institute, 191 payments. Flossie Wong-Stahl, the National Cancer Institute, 190 payments. And Mangarasal, some lady from India, National Cancer Institute, 188 payments. You'll wonder why there's so much effort into marketing. We need to find a cure for cancer. But then after all of this time, why we're no closer to finding a cure for cancer? Look at how profitable that interest is. Or that industry is, rather, and how much money it generates for all the people at the top. Hate to be a cynic on these types of issues, but the numbers are the fucking numbers. Only Paston continues to be employed by the NIH, according to the Open Books. Yeah, because he's trying to overtake Robert Gallo, and he's only 21 payments away. When the NIH employees make a discovery in their official capacity, the NIH owns the rights to any resulting patient. These patients are then licensed to commercial use for the companies and could use them to bring products to market, the fact sheet reads. Employees are listed as inventors on the patents and receive a share of the royalties obtained through any licensing or technology transfer of their inventions. Essentially, taxpayer money funding NIH research benefits researchers employed by NIH because they are listed as patent investors and therefore receive royalty payments for licenses or licensees. Awesome. So they're incentivized to keep creating all of these treatments. Don't bother finding any cures, because the getting's good while we can get the getting, as it were. They're Darby Gold in those suffering hills. The NIH spokesperson didn't immediately respond to press time because, hey, they were getting their new gold-plated phone. Andruszewski told reporters that the Associated Press reported, easy for me to say, reported extensively on the NIH royalty payments in 2005, including specific details about who got how much and for which payers for what works, and the agency is denying the open books in 2022. Cool. At the time, we knew that there were 918 scientists in 2005, and that ballooned up to how much exactly? 1,675 between, or rather in the convening 9 years. Interesting. Very interesting. And each year, they were receiving approximately $9 million. With each scientist receiving $9,700. But today, the numbers are a lot larger, with the United States still in the declared national health emergency. That's why they aren't giving up any of their emergency powers. You wonder why. Business is good. Pandemics, fears. They're great money earners. It's quite obvious the stake in healthcare are a lot stronger, Andruszewski said. He said the files open the books are receiving 300 pages of line-by-line data are heavily retracted. How many of those pages are just completely blacked out? These are not the files the AP received in 2005. Yeah, because they're buddy-buddy. We know that. When everything was disclosed, the scientist's name, the third-party payer, and the amount of royalty paid to the payer to the scientist, Andruszewski said. Today, NIH is producing a heavily retracted database. We don't know the payment amount to the scientist is. We don't know the name of the third-party payer. All of that is redacted. Oh, so you know the end total, and you know the scientist. Cool, great, wonderful. But you don't know any of the intermediaries. Terrific. 3 guesses as to who's probably at the top. Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, Moderna. Just spitballing here. Federal officials are allowed to retract information from responses to a FOIA request, and the release of the data would harm the firm's commercial privilege. Yep. Undisclosed royalty payments are inherent conflicts of interest, Andruszewski said. We believe that there is an unholy conflict of interest inherent in the NIH. You don't say consider the fact that each year NIH doles out $32 billion in grants to approximately 56,000 grantees. Now, we know that over the 11-year period, there are going to be approximately $350 million flowing the other way from third-party payers, many of which receive NIH grants, and those payments are flowing back to the NIH scientists and leadership. Fauci and Lane told AP that they agreed that there was an appearance of a conflict of interest in getting royalties, with Fauci saying that he contributed his royalties to charity. I doubt it. I need to see receipts. I don't believe anything that little weasel says. The Governing Ethics Financial Disclosures Form in the past identified the royalty payments as income receipts received from NIH, which meant the receipts weren't required to list their payments on the form. But Andruszewski said NIH has refused to respond to a request for clarification on the disclosure issue. They're not. None of these payments are receiving any scrutiny whatsoever, to the extent that the companies making the payments to either leadership or scientists while receiving grants. Then, just on the face of the conflict of interest. Yeah, no, definitely is conflict of interest. Open the Books is a Chicago-based nonprofit government watchdog which uses federal and state freedom of information laws to obtain the post on the internet trillions of dollars in spending at all levels of government. The nonprofit filed federal FOIA, the Freedom of Information Act, suit seeking documentation of all payments to outside firms to NIH and or current and former NIH employees. NIH declined to respond to the FOIA, so Open the Books is taking the agency to court, suing for non-compliance with the FOIA. Yes, over the heavily redacted areas, because hey, that's where taxpayer money is going. $350 million of it, that's where it's going. And it's especially flowing to the heads of these departments. You got some explaining to do, but you won't be getting any answers from Francis Collins because he's taking an early retirement. Hey, cool. All those years of grifting finally paid off. But hey, Fauci, hey, guess what? Time to open the books is at the fucking front door. Time to cash out and take that talking head position. Hey, I think CNN's hiring. Maybe you can try to revive their fucking streaming service, you little greasy butcher. With all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.